I'm, all right. Well, I'm gonna assume that now that it says live, we're going live. So, welcome everyone. Good morning for my Canadian friends, and good afternoon for my London friends. I'm thrilled to be here, just a little nervous. Um, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, speaking to all of you wonderful people. So, if I um, seem nervous, because I'm terrified. Going forward, welcome. So, my name is Christina Mastronardi, and I am the founder of Canine Movement. I started my company in 2014 after working and going to school for early childhood education, and then spending a great deal of time working at a dog daycare. So, kind of a big comparison difference there. But going to school and seeing the psychological aspect of how specifically young children, toddlers, and preschoolers interact. Once I started working with dogs, I started seeing the similarities. It was very interesting to me, so I started pursuing that more. And then started building a company around that, that maybe dogs are more than we see. And maybe dogs aren't just these mindless walking stomachs that everybody thinks they are. I mean, labs, Goldens, but they do have brains and they do have feelings. So I find it easier and more rewarding and more effective to work with a dog's feelings and to use their emotions and triggers and their environment to actually get past whatever it is causing them, whatever the discomfort is, pain, fear, uh, discomfort of whatever sort. So now that you have a little background on myself, let's begin. So when I say that I use emotions in training, what that means is, actually, let's start with what is an emotion. Okay. So if you see me looking away, I have a nice little Bristol board. It's how I helped prepare myself for today. So I have some Bristol board, I have some notes, I have a tablet here. We're gonna try and tackle some fun stuff. And ooh, hi Ruby! Yay! Someone said hello. Welcome. Feel free, by the way, to comment and ask questions. This is a really relaxed kind of thing. I tried to be fancy at first and download some software to share pictures, but it just wasn't happening. So I'm going to try to show you some things wherever I can, either on my tablet or I'll just help you visualize. But I want it to be interactive, so I'm going to at some point ask for your thoughts and feelings and opinions. So feel free. Hi, Alice. Oh, it's so nice to see you here. I hope Lee is with you and Aya. um, so if you have any questions, jump in, shout them out. It's going to be very laid back and interactive and hopefully fun. And I'm not just going to talk at you the whole time. So, what are emotions? Basically, an emotion is a strong feeling derived from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. We want to unpack that. Strong feeling deriving from. So, a circumstance, that would be something like their environment, or a circumstance would be a hoarding situation. Um, if they are living in a home with no structure, no enrichment, and they, don't get a lot of interaction throughout the day. Those are circumstances. The family works a lot, so the dog doesn't really get as much as they can or should. So that would greatly influence and affect the dog. A mood. What kind of mood? If let's say the family is going through some things, maybe there's a sick grandparent, or there's tension in the house with money, or those moods will affect the dog. You come home from work and you've had a really stressful day. Fido comes running up, "Hey, you're home." Oh, no. Well, you just kind of brushed him off, and he goes, "Oh, okay." That mood affects them, whether we realize it or not. Yeah, he was thrilled to see you. Now you just kind of, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Hope you had a good day." It was gone 12 hours. But yeah, okay, I'll hang out with you in a bit when I'm in a better headspace. It happens. We all do that. We have a day, and sometimes we forget it, that can account for mood. And then when we think about relationship with others, well, who are the others that they would have relationships with? Who does your dog, or who do we have relationships with? They have you, mom or dad. They have. So, do we have an authoritative kind of relationship with them, where we demand and expect things from them with, "Okay, sit means sit. That's, I expect you to do that." Do we have more of a responsive type parenting, where we wait for them to do something and we respond to that behavior? Do we have more of, authoritarian, where, or authoritarian and authoritative? I know they're different, and now that I'm speaking to all of you, my mind is going blank with nerves. But secure and insecure attachment. Is the dog secure to you, where they're able to confidently kind of explore the environment on their own, or knowing that you're there with them? Or is it an insecure attachment? Do they not feel connected to you? Do they not feel that bond, that tie? The way that they are able to relate to the ones closest to them makes a huge difference. If you want to work with punishments, yeah, that can definitely affect your relationship, because suddenly the person they're supposed to trust and love and rely on can be scary and unpredictable. So emotions play a big part in how your dogs see the world. All right. So saying that, what can dogs actually feel? And this has been controversial because, philosophers, even as well known as Descartes, believe that, they were just mindless walking tummies. I have a quote here. So basically, animals eat without pleasure, cry without pain, act without knowing it. They desire nothing, fear nothing, know nothing. And that was Nicolas de Malebranche. Malebranche. Sure, I just butchered that horribly. Oh, hi, Debbie. Nice to see you here too. So if you take that apart, really? Up until about the 19th century, they thought that animals felt nothing, they didn't have pleasure, they didn't experience pain, they knew nothing, they wanted for nothing. I think we all know that that's a little outdated today. But if we sorry guys, now that I'm having technical troubles. That's what I go. So they've done studies as to what dogs can actually feel. Because it's easy enough for me to say, yeah, I know that my dog is happy when I come home. He's sad when I leave. He's this when I do this and right, but how can we actually prove that? So there have been studies and research done. Uh, One of them was in 2013. It was an article called Dogs Are People Too. And it was published in the New York Times. And basically, researchers trained 12 dogs to enter MRI scanners to have their brains analyzed while they were introduced to certain signals. So, hand signals indicating food stimulus. Uh, so, they would basically point, you know, food is going to be here. And once the dog made the connection, food was going to be there, um, the area of their brain called the caudate nucleus, uh, the area associated with anticipating good things or things we enjoy would activate, just like humans would. So if dogs don't feel pleasure, then how come when they saw food, the pleasure area of their brain lit up? Right? So, science. So, again, anybody that wanted to look into that one, it was October 2013. The article was Dogs Are People Too. And it was actually really interesting how they did that. Because then they were able to compare more and see that the caudate is so predictable in humans, it can predict preferences in food. Scientists refer to this similarity between human and canine brain activity as functional homology. Functional homology. There we go. Another one that they had was that, let's see, I like this one. Dogs can recognize generosity and acts of kindness and act accordingly to that. So the study was published in 2017 on dogs being able to recognize selfish versus generous behavior. And this one's really cute. I enjoyed it. So researchers in the study observed as a dog would sit leashed by the owner in a room with two strangers. The strangers were both given a bowl of smelly food which contained sausage and cereal. A third person would enter the room, acting as a beggar. She would go to the first person and ask for food, and that person would shoo them away. Get out of here, my food. To which the second person she'd go to, and they would give her food. Then she would leave. At that point, they would let the dog go, and you better believe that that dog went right away to that person that gave the food to the beggar, because they realized an opportunity and saw that kind gesture as, well, if they're happy to give some to them, maybe they'll give some to me as well. So that was very funny. Again, if dogs don't feel anything or can't think or make associations, then how would you explain little things like that? Also, this brings us to our next area of the emotions, which is the guilt and shame. We've all seen those videos of the dogs looking so guilty. Oh my gosh, you got into the garbage. You're such a bad dog. And meanwhile, the dog's just horrified, thinking, oh my gosh, why are you yelling at me? Please, please. My ears are back. My eyes are, look, come on, I'm making myself as small as I can. My body is little. I'm so sorry. I don't know why you're so mad at me. Can't you see that I'm trying my best to make you happy? That's not guilt. That is terror. That is absolute confusion. And we know that dogs can't feel guilt and shame because of all of the tests they've done. They've estimated dogs and pinned them at about 2 to 2.5 years of age. And if we're going to compare psychologies, children don't even develop things like guilt and shame and contempt until they're closer to 3 or 4. So if our dogs stop developing mentally at a certain point, then that means they're never going to experience those other emotions So any behavior you see is just something that's been practiced in practice. So every time they see you do that face or have that reaction, you're going to get the same reaction back because it's been practiced. So your dog is scared. He's not really sad or guilty. He has no idea. They only have a 3-second association. So unless you catch your dog in the act, it's not going to happen. If your dog even walks away after 5 seconds, they're not going to associate it. You can yell at your dog, but if they've already walked into the other room, now they're going to associate you yelling at them for walking into the other room. They have no concept. You are now waving around, pointing at the garbage, screaming, and they're like, did you want to play with it too? I'm sorry. Like, do you want... They have no idea why we're mad. So going forward with that, now we have an idea of what we can and cannot work with in dogs. So if dogs can't feel guilt, they can't feel shame, they can't feel, contempt for things. They can feel fear, and, immense fear eventually will turn to them disliking something. But it's not, I hate you. It's more of, you've hurt me or you've scared me so greatly that I can't trust you. I don't want you near me. Right? So again, when you see those videos of the Chihuahua and they're, kissing on the face, and the Chihuahua is just really mad, and they're going, well, it's funny. No, it's not funny. That Chihuahua is trying so hard to let you know that they are upset. They're that's, you're holding them and you're manipulating them in a way that they can't control what's happening. How would you feel if literally some giant human came and picked you up and started manipulating you, kissing you, and laughing at you, and you couldn't do anything to stop it? Those reactions aren't funny. They're not cute. So how do we read body language? How do we get more involved in these emotions? Well, we have to start looking at how emotions play a part in basically everything. The root of everything is energy and emotion. So how do we use those energies and those emotions to shape our words and our training and our perspectives? So if I have a client come to me and say, my dog is dominant and my dog is he likes to be the boss, he doesn't let anybody near me or him because he's too cool for that, or he has to show them that he's alpha. And I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. Oh, he doesn't let me touch his things because those are his, he's the boss. Okay. Like how do those words, when you think of the word dominant, so this is where you can start interacting. If you want to type out a message, comments, how does the word dominant make you feel? When you hear the word dominant, what words typically go along with that? And I'll give you a second. So anybody that wants to answer can answer. All right. Well, when you think of dominant, you think of strong. You think of bossy. You think of controlling. But ruling, governing. Those are other words that typically go with it. Commanding. So if you're gonna say my dog is dominant, well, okay, is he really doing all those things? Does your dog really think that they are superior? Does your dog really think that they are commanding other dogs or authoritative over other dogs? What emotions that when I hear the word dominant, I kind of get on edge a little, and I notice that because it's always the same words that get used together. So that I always notice, or I've come to notice that those words tend to get me a little excited, uh, because it gives me an opportunity to, I guess, share information, maybe have a really fun conversation, you know. So, how do we now shift our perspective and our energy? So, you can say that the dog is dominant, but I can say, well, maybe the dog is just insecure, and maybe that dog doesn't know how to act. Maybe the dog is just scared that if they don't jump first, maybe other dogs will jump on them, you know? So I have to get to it first. Maybe it's because they've had a lot of bad experiences in the past that didn't go so well for them. And so they've learned, well, I have to be more vocal, or I have to do this because the things that I did in the past didn't work in my favor. So unless you have someone that's, you know, helping them, saying, "Oh, here, let's do this behavior instead," or "Let's try this instead," you just have a dog that's trying to figure it out on their own. And sometimes it doesn't always work out so well. Um, so we want to change these words that we're hearing. You know, so instead of saying pack leader, what about saying pet guardian? When I think of a pet guardian, I think of caring. I think of you know, you're protecting, you're watching over something, you're guarding it, but you're also guiding it. So you're not spoiling it or just accepting that it's a piece of furniture in your house. You're taking on a guardianship, you know? So I think that that term is more encompassing than pack leader, because a pack leader kind of says, hey, I'm demanding respect. I am demanding compliance. I am demanding that you obey. Well, that's fine, but who are you to command, right? And that's another big one. The use of words that you use in training. I command you to sit. Well, I am not a genie, you know? I am not uh, I am not a robot. You can't command me to do anything, and I can't command you to do anything. You can't command another living being to do anything against their own will. If I choose to sit on my own free will, that's my choosing. If you choose to sit because I offered you something that you found rewarding, then you're choosing to sit, and we are then entering a partnership of me asking you to do something and you on your own choosing to comply with it. That's force free. That is working with someone, not against them. Right? So just automatically changing in your head command to cue or ask, which is why I find it all encompassing. I don't want to command my animals to do anything. I want to ask them. And keeping that mentality in mind keeps my perspective on them, not me. And it keeps me focused on their needs and what they're doing at that moment. So if I'm commanding you, then that means I'm ignoring what you want and what you feel and what you think. And that's not going to help anything. So another common situation where you see that is, you know, a dog reacting in a park. Let it be a squirrel, another dog, a human, whatever. Anything that they're upset about. When you have this beautiful dog and it's on the leash and it's on the collar and it's barking and it's like, hey, I see you over there. You know, maybe last time it saw that same dog in person, it didn't go so well. That dog jumped on him, or, you know, bit him or chased him, or, you know, it just wasn't so nice. The dog's going, oh, I don't like you. And the owner's going, oh my gosh. Because maybe it was with mom that it happened, so dad doesn't know about it. And dad's going, oh, why are you getting all excited? Like it's just another dog. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not okay with this. I don't like that dog. Stop, you're embarrassing me. It's just a dog. No, no, Dad, I don't like that one. He tried to bite me last time. He's not my friend. Now dad's getting mad and he's like jerking the dog. Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's leave the dog. Let's go. And you're freaking out. You're upset. Dad, no, I don't want to do this. But I mean, that's the command culture versus if you had just kind of stopped and said, why are you so upset? Let's look in this situation right now, right here. Let's get right down to bare bones. What are you looking at? Okay, you're looking at a guy and a dog. I don't know them, but you seem really upset. Your ears are up and forward. You're staring at him. You're giving like really loud, direct, alerting barks at this other dog. And it's not like a friendly, I want to come play. It's no, you're scaring me or you're making me uncomfortable. Hey, yeah, I know that bark. Okay, so he's really not okay with that dog. Well, I'm not going to keep going towards it because he's really not okay with that. So I'm going to actually turn around and maybe go this way and see if that helps him. And 9 out of 10 times, as soon as you add that distance and give them the choice to move away from the scary thing, guess what? They're going to calm down, right? As opposed to if I had just tightened a leash and just heave ho, we're going straight. I want to go home, right? So do you see how the same situation can be handled two very different ways? I mean, having the option to distance yourself and maybe even walk an extra 5 minutes just to calm down after and get over that experience, that stress, that trigger can help your dog greatly. So we want to read that body language and act accordingly because as guardians, we're basically their first line of defense. And so we're going to be their biggest teachers. All right. Also, on that kind of note, how do we feel about when labels are put on dogs? So a label is another word, like rescue. My dog is a rescue. My dog came from a shelter, or my dog came from a puppy mill. When we put these words on these dogs, it's like we stick them at that time. And our dog doesn't go past being that. So if I rescued Thor at 18 months, when I adopted Thor, he came from a, funny situation. It wasn't a great situation. Like he didn't have training. He was under socialized. He was crated a lot. So he had some, challenges to overcome with the crate when we actually got him one that fit him. But if I had kept calling him, rehome or, oh, he came with all these problems, then those problems would have stuck with him because I'm keeping them alive. I'm keeping them in the present. It's like he came to me with these suitcases and said, all right, Mom, I'm here. My parents are getting a divorce. I don't get out enough. I have no friends, And if I had just said, okay, well, you got all these suitcases, better strap them to you, pal. Right? He would not be the same dog he is today. But I looked at him and I said, okay, let's strip you down. Let's start fresh. Let's get you in a training. Let's, get you meeting some dogs. Let's get you playing. Let's get you working on your desensitization to this big, scary crate. And we worked on these things. And I didn't think about his issues. I thought about him in the moment, in the progress. And it wasn't an everyday progress. Some things happen really fast, some things happened really slow. But that's because I was undoing emotional trauma. One of those things was strangers. He was very stranger reactive and absolutely terrified if someone was coming down the street at us because he didn't know what to do at all. So he would just panic and start reacting. Get away from me, get away from me. Because he was 18 months, I don't know what his past experiences were. But if I had just kept saying, oh, well, they must have been bad. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this. What if they were good and he was going through a fear period, right? If I kept going back to must be, that's why, then I would never be able to make forward progress. It's fine that he's like that and that those things happened or whatever reasons happened. But those reasons happened, and now we have to move forward from them with the dog so that they can move forward and stay in the present and stop thinking about those things too. Because that's going to cause depression and anxiety in dogs, right? Just like humans. So we counter condition the poop out of humans every time we saw humans. They were our buddies, they were our friends. We were pointing them out. We had a great time. We loved seeing our friends. And we got lots of treats. And we got lots of distance between these friends. And we got lots of running away practice from these friends. And we ducked behind cars and around bushes and we did what we had to do to keep his emotions, contained to a point where he could handle them. So under his threshold, right? Every living being has a threshold, right? My threshold is different than your threshold, just like it's different from, I have two dogs. Thor's threshold is vastly different than Axel's threshold. He's a shepherd. So Axel gets excited when a leaf blows by, even at 11 years old, whereas Thor is like, unless someone comes up to him and, he's pretty bomb proof. But you can blame Sean for that. He always picks on her. Anyways, going forward. So when I hear, my dog is stubborn, my dog is guilty, I say, okay, we're going to stop and we're going to, this is one tactic I love to use with people to get them kind of in the headspace. We're going to write down everything that you're feeling about your dog right now, and then we're going to dissect those feelings. So you feel your dog doesn't listen, you feel your dog is dominant, you feel your dog is stubborn, you feel your dog, feels they're the boss, so they don't have to listen. So let's write all these things down and then decide okay, well, what could that possibly mean? And I like to use Google and literally look up synonyms. Like, okay, well, you thought your dog was stubborn. Well, what if they're not stubborn? What if they just don't know well enough what you're asking? What if it hasn't been broken down enough? Oh, well, they know. Well, how do they know? Well, we did puppy school. Okay. I did kindergarten and I still can read till I was like 9. Right? Everybody learns at different paces. So to say that, well, they did this, so they should know. You don't just learn something and you've learned it for life. No. The beauty of, being a cognitive being is that you keep learning, you keep growing. And typically when you learn something, it's just a foundation. You're just at the baby steps, so you always want to grow where you can. Perfect. Awesome. So I don't know how well this is going to work, and next time I do a conference, I'm definitely gonna do this better. Let's see. Okay. So this is one of all right. So do you see how this is an iceberg? And you have above the water and below the water. I'm going to read it to you, so don't worry. I just want you to see what I'm looking at. So basically this picture says, you may just see me feeding treats, and that's the above the water, the tip of the iceberg. But what you don't see below the water is the positive associations I'm building between my dog getting that treat and whatever it was that was triggering them or stressing them out. You don't see the trust between the dog and the handler growing, knowing that the dog can communicate effectively to the human so that they can, feel heard, and that develops trust. The scientific research as to why I'm giving that treat at that time for that reason, the understanding of dog behavior. If I know my dog's behavior leading up to a trigger or reaction to a trigger, I can interrupt that with something pleasant, redirect onto me, and try to even avoid the whole situation altogether by being aware of his body language. You know, managing space and distance, being aware of where we are in relation to everything else around us. Are we walking down a path? Are there people? Is it really busy? Are we being bombarded by oncoming traffic? Are there kids on skateboards, on bikes, in wagons? What kind of things are happening in his environment that I need to manage the space of? Maybe he's not okay with bikes, but he's fine with wagons or strollers. I know that we can be a little closer to those, but if I see a bike coming, we have to move right off the path and give lots of space, right? And the careful, thought out timing plan, uh, all of these amazing things that go into it. And again, they're all, at the end of the day, emotion based. So now that we've talked more about emotions, what our dogs can and can't feel, how our emotions can really kind of play into them and their psychologies, how do we help that, right? So how are we going to increase our self-awareness of when we're working with dogs? And what is self-awareness? So self-awareness is the cognitive. I have a window here, guys, so I apologize. It's starting to come in really sunny now. You're changing a different color. Maybe I'll just shift down a little bit. Ooh. Okay, there we go. So it's a cognitive state. Basically, it involves being aware of different aspects of yourself, including, traits, behaviors, and feelings. So to be self-aware is to really look inside and diagnose yourself. Where's my self-awareness? So I took a lot of notes to prepare myself for this, so I still don't feel prepared. So what kind of traits do we have? Some people can be, really excitable, really bouncy. Some people can be really relaxed. Some people can be really the type A kind of personality and traits where they want things done and expect them right away and, to be done the right way. Or you can have someone that is more relaxed, but you have to really be aware of how it is you interact, because if you're anxious or if you're stressed out, then that is going to carry over to your dog, even if you're not aware of it. So being self-aware gives us the opportunity to see how others see us. An example is, if I am a really strong personality person, I'm really abrasive, I'm really blunt, I really don't sugarcoat things, and I am that way with everybody, do you think that's going to be well received by everybody? Probably not. I mean, there's going to be some people that, oh wow, she's really knowledgeable, so she's really cut and dry and she's very factual. But then you have other people to say, oh, I don't know, I found her really cold, I couldn't connect, she just seems really not inflated, but condescending, or because people can interpret you different ways. So if I think, no, I'm just being very a strong leader, well, no, maybe you're a little intimidating, maybe you're hard to approach. So being able to get feedback and really dissect all of these traits about yourself can give you huge insight as to really how you can interact with the world around you, mainly dogs. So, dogs, I know I've said this to my clients a thousand times. It's been proven through more research that dogs will respond to our body language more than they will our verbal. And actually, they kind of go into it in that study where I was explaining how dogs can follow our hands for food. So they actually used puppies that had never done the exercise, and when the human would point, someone was holding the puppy, and the puppy would watch. And as soon as they let go of the puppy, it was like 8 or 9 times out of 10, the puppy would go to the cup that the human pointed at that had the food. So that was a huge difference compared to wolves, or actually most animals. Even our closest neighbor, the chimpanzees, and they don't even follow our pointing as reliably as dogs do. So our body language and everything we do makes a difference. So if I come in and my shoulders are slumped, head is down, and I'm giving a hard eye to my dog, maybe I'm all mad because I got I pulled in and realized one of my tires was flat or something, and so now I'm just like really mad at the world, but I'm still projecting that at my dog, and they're still, why are you so mad? I don't understand, because they can't contextualize that flat tire has equal your bad mood. So then they're thinking, oh, well, you see me and you're upset, so it must be me. So having that awareness of looking at your dog and thinking, okay, I don't want you to think I'm mad. Smile at the dog. You're a good puppy. I know. You're doing a great job. Gotta go call a tow truck. Gotta go call the shop. Gotta go find this. Gotta go do that. Taking that second to put yourself in the moment, in the present. Hi, Fido. I'm not mad at you. I know you don't understand. I'm just really flustered right now. And 9 times out of 10, you'll see your dog completely change. Like, I'll do this with Thor, and he'll come over to me, and I'm trying to crazily get things together. And I'm like, hi, I love you, Bubby. I know. Mom really wants to love you right now, but I have to do this. And then it's kind of like, oh, okay, Mom's doing stuff. And then he understands and he walks away. Right? But it's not like it's okay, Mom's doing stuff. And then when I'm done, I usually go over and I love on him. So he knows that. But being cognitive of his feelings and his body language and his emotions are what's important pretty much any time I'm interacting with him. So, I mean, why do we want to be self-aware? Why do we want to bring that into training? It allows you to identify your strengths and weaknesses, and also maintain a growth mindset. So, like, one of my weaknesses is I have a hard time sometimes explaining things like counter conditioning versus operant conditioning versus classical conditioning, Pavlov, who did this, who said that. But any chance that I get, I'm still trying to learn and read up on it. So even though I still have some confusion, I'm still trying to grow and develop and better my understanding of those aspects. Whereas one of my strengths is that I spent over 4,000 hours interacting with dogs and watching dog play and socializations, and I can say with confidence that I speak, canine body language. So sure, I struggle in some areas, but I'm really strong in others. So knowing those strengths and weaknesses play into my favor, because I know where I can grow and what needs work. What else? So so our top 10 list of why we really want to work with self-awareness. It also allows us to ask for help. So if I can get past myself and say, you know what, I'm not a very confident speaker. Who do I know? that's a confident speaker. My friend Joe, let me ask my friend Joe if he can give me some tips, maybe listen to me speak and help me with that. Getting out of your comfort zone allows you to grow and become a more effective communicator, right? Especially if your buddy Joe is really good and says, yeah, I just did a conference or seminar and let me give you some resources. Those resources will help you grow. So it allows us the ability to see and experience the environment in greater detail around us by being mentally present. If you're stuck in your head and you're walking through the park, you're not actually there. You're walking your dog, but you're thinking about your mortgage payment, you're calculating your budget for the week. You're 1,000 miles away and you're not in the moment. So if you're walking your dog, nice 80-pound, lab thing, and he sees a squirrel and you don't because you're la 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 la, that could be a really painful experience. I mean, a number of things could happen. Your dog could dislocate your shoulder if you don't let go of the lead, sudden jerk. I can't tell you how many clients have gotten dislocated rotator cuffs because they were talking to a neighbor and their dog saw a squirrel or a raccoon or a cat or something and took off without them even noticing, and whoop, now you've broken a wrist or something, especially if you're one of those people that wraps it and leaves it on your wrist like that. Very quick way to break your wrist. I'm going to let you know now. Versus staying present, talking to the person, but also scanning the environment. Yeah, so tell me about little Jimmy. Yeah, oh, no way, Jimmy fell down. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. You're like looking down the street. Oh, I see a dog over there. Okay, did my dog see that dog yet? No. Oh, no, really? Hospital. Okay, what's that dog doing? Okay, they're going that way. That's fine. Oh, it's over here. No, you don't say. Right, you're multitasking. You're doing 1,000 things at once because your dog is doing 1,000 things at once. Think of everything they're being bombarded with. All of the smells, the sights, the sounds, everything is hitting them and they're thinking, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so if you're not, catching it all, staying in the present mentality, you're going to get hurt. It also allows for more active listening. So if I was speaking to someone, active listening allows me to see and hear. So I'm not just, taking in the words you're saying, but how are you saying the words? Are you saying them slowly? Are you getting it out really fast and excitedly? Are you hesitant to say these words? Are you nervous to say these words? How are you holding your body? Are you slouched? Are you confident and upright? Are you holding and playing with your hands? All of those things, that's active listening. You're not just listening to what they're saying, but how it's being delivered at you, taking it all in. And doing that allows us to better empathize with others and take their perspective. If I see visually that you're upset, that you're, telling me something that happened to you, I can empathize with you. Oh man, you're like really sad. Yeah, you're trembling. That must have been a really hard or scary experience for you. And you can put yourself in that person, allow yourself to be in their shoes, their perspective, and that empathy allows you to connect, right? But you can't empathize if you're still thinking about your bills and you're, oh man, what am I doing after this? Right? That's total disconnect. If you're going to be there, be aware and in the moment and present with them. So it also allows you to stay true to your passions. So my passions are psychology, emotions, and animals, dogs. It took me a long time to come to that honesty of what are my actual passions. Priorities. My priorities are canine well-being. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that the dogs I work with are like being helped to the best that they can be. And then core values. Mine are integrity, transparency, and honesty. And I could not operate without those values. They mean a lot to me, not just as a, as with my company, but as a person. Being self aware allows you to anticipate and proactively manage your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors going into a situation. So, for example, today I was super nervous about this. So, I wore something comfortable, loose. I wore my green sweater because it makes me feel happy and confident. Um, I wore jeans because I like to play with denim. So, that gives me something to fidget with when I get flustered or stuck. And knowing these things going in gives me time to prepare myself and get into the right headspace, but also if you're working with a dog, what is your headspace? Are you frustrated? Are you happy? Are you tired? Are you hungover? Are you already frustrated from something else and now you're trying to work with a dog and they're acting frustrated and they're acting goofy and you're thinking, why are you being so silly? Well, they're just reflecting what they're reading from you, right? So it also allows us to set realistic goals. So if I see Fido is really reactive to other dogs, I'm not going to put him in a situation before he's ready just because I think he should be able to do it. Being aware means no guarantees. It means I'm going to take all the time you need until you feel better about this. I'm not going to say in 3 sessions Fido's going to walk past those barking dogs and not even look. Well, no, I can't promise that because I don't know. Maybe that dog will have a bad night's rest and won't feel that great the next morning. And, they don't want those dogs near them. So they're going to react to tell you, I'm feeling not so great today. Stay over there. Does that mean, it's a bad dog? Does it mean the training didn't work? It just means the dog wasn't ready and we weren't being aware of realistic goals and expectations for the dog. When we are self aware, it allows us to build confidence in ourselves and our problem solving abilities. So sometimes changing our approach to challenges requiring creativity and thinking outside of the box. If we have to diagnose an underlying issue, we can't always just put the same hat on every dog and say, oh, well, this is the hat. I mean, you can ask my husband, hats don't fit me. So, I usually have to go through at least 12 before one looks reasonable on me. But if I had to wear the hat that fit him, it would be like down here and would be completely ineffective for me. I couldn't drive, I couldn't walk, I'd constantly be moving it out of my head or out of my face. If he wore my hat, it wouldn't do anything for him, right? It would just barely cover the top of his head. So being aware that not one size fits all allows you to be creative with it. If I have a reactive dog, I'm going to treat them or work with them differently than if I had a not reactive dog who is bomb proof and relaxed. And, so being aware really helps with our problem solving skills. And also, it allows us to step back and manage our emotions in a situation and to stay calm and grounded. Because really, staying in control and calm is what's going to be your best tool. We're not going to let our emotions influence the dogs or the people we're working with. If I had a bad night, I'm going to leave that night at the door as I walk through the building and come to work with you. I'm going to be mindful of what's in front of me at that moment so that we can work together. Otherwise, there's no point of me being there if I'm not there, So on that note of staying calm and grounded, we're actually going to do a couple of exercises quickly that my good friend Mika helped me find. She suggested these to me, and so they can be done anywhere at any time to help you ground yourselves and kind of calm your mind when you need to. So the first one is called Take 5. All right. We're going to sit on a chair or surface with our feet planted flat on the ground, and we're going to have our backs nice and straight upright, and we're going to have our hands one flat on our, there we go, one flat and one palm up on our laps, okay? So we're going to take one deep breath in and let it out, and that will be one cycle. So we'll do that now, okay? We're going to take one deep breath in and one deep breath out. And the hand that's palm up, you're going to fold that thumb in. You're going to do it again. One breath in, one breath out. And you're going to fold a second finger, your pointer finger. You're going to do it again. One breath in, one breath out. You're going to fold your middle finger. And you're going to bring your breath in, one breath out. And you're going to fold in your ring finger. And last one deep breath in, and one deep breath out. And fold your pinky. You have those 5 deep breaths have just helped calm and regulate your nervous system, your parasympathetic system. I think you said it was, Mika. I'm trying my best to to make you proud here. Right, but I don't know about you guys, but I already feel much calmer, much more balanced. I was actually doing that a lot before we started, and I found it helped. So the next technique you can use is called stop. S-T-O-P. So you're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to take in a deep breath or 2. You're going to observe. How are you feeling? Your emotions, your physical. What is going around you? What is going on inside you? How does your body feel? How do your clothes feel? You're going to observe everything. And you can take time to do that. That's okay. It's the point of it, to take the time. And then you're going to proceed with awareness. So, why am I so flustered all of a sudden? I don't understand. Okay, let me think about it. Well, the baby's crying. He's really upset. The dog is barking. I'm trying to just get this email out. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go to the baby, pick him up, let the dog outside, or call the dog in, give them all some love, finish my email in a minute. Right? Going forward with awareness gives us the ability to remove our emotions, our frustration, and how are we going to handle the situation in front of us. All right, and the last one we're going to do is called stop and drop. So when you notice that your thoughts are racing, or you feel overwhelmed or fearful, you're going to stop what you're doing and drop out of your head into your body. So what that means is we want to shift our focus from our head to our body below our neck to use our other senses. So typically we try to notice our feet, or we train ourselves to notice our feet. So with your feet flat on the ground, and we might run out of time, so I'm sorry everybody, but I want you to do this quickly. We're going to notice your feet. You're going to notice how your toes feel. Can they touch? Are they touching the ground? Are all of them touching the ground? Are they wiggling? Are you wearing socks? Are they fuzzy socks? Are they, tickly socks? Are they rough? Are you barefoot? Is the ground cold? Is it hot? Are you in a house? Are you on a patio? Are your feet dry? Are they itchy at all? How does the arch of your foot feel? How does it feel to have shoes on? Do you have shoes on? Are they tight? Are they constricting? Are they, gel inserts? Now that we've been focusing on our feet, we've completely shifted our focus out of our heads and into our bodies. You can also stand and touch your feet. By doing so, again, you're focusing. Can you touch every one of your toes? Can you run your hands under the sides of your feet? Can you pull each toe up? Can you reach to the back? Can you touch your heels? Just by doing these, we're now pulling ourselves out of our heads, putting them into our bodies, which is giving us that beautiful redirection to think clearly. So I see that we have like 15 seconds left. So I'm going to take a brief second to thank you all sincerely for coming out and listening to me ramble on today. Thank you, Ruby, for organizing this beautiful event. And if anybody wants to learn more, by all means, feel free to message me or check out my company. It's Canine Movement, or my force-free positive reinforcement, fun me rambling group, the Canine Movement. So hope to see you all again soon, and thanks for doing this with me today. Take care. Have a great day.